Hello and welcome to the United Community Channel. My name is Jack and this is your latest Manchester United transfer news. And as always, we've got a big show tonight, guys. Plenty to talk about. Andre Onana looks like he's going to stay at Manchester United beyond this summer. So we're going to talk about that, of course. We're going to be talking an awful lot about the article that The Athletic have wrote today in relation to Manchester United transfer stories. Anthony, it looks like... not that it looks like, but Real Betis are desperate to sign him on a permanent deal. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. The price tag for Ekitike supposedly has been set and it's a little bit more manageable, but still, is it the right move for Manchester United? We'll talk a little bit about that as well. We're going to talk as well, guys, about Mbeumo. It looks like Tottenham are out of the race to sign him. Manchester United all the way, and we'll talk about maybe the importance of that as well. We've got an update on the price tag of Jadon Sancho going out of Manchester United. Will he leave? Will he not leave? That's the big question. And of course, we've got updates on the striker search as well, guys. Obviously, we mentioned Ekitike. There has been reports from Florian Plettenberg in relation to Arsenal and their pursuit of either Benjamin Sesko or Victor Gyökeres, and what does that mean for Manchester United? And also, we have an update on Rasmus Højlund and the likelihood of him leaving. As always, guys, please do smash a like on the video, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and get your comments in to the live chat or into the comment section below if you're listening back to this. It's great to see so many people back again. As always, say hello in the chat. Let me know who's there. I see Brian is in early. Good to see you, pal. Thanks for joining us. But guys, we're going to kick it off and we're going to talk, of course, about the headline on the video. And that is, of course, Andre Onana is looking like he is going to stay at Manchester United. And what does that mean for the search for a new goalkeeper? The Athletic have wrote today that Andre Onana's representatives held a meeting with Old Trafford figures last week, and the goalkeeper is expected to stay this summer, although United could still enter the market as his position to sign a backup who can provide him competition. That was I suppose, at the very least, what we want to see is a goalkeeper coming in that can at least put some pressure on Andre Onana and challenge him for that number one spot. And we've, of course, mentioned it last night, didn't we? That, you know, Bayindir this season has just absolutely been no competition to him at all. And, you know, Bayindir had that great game against Arsenal where he made the penalty saves and so on and so forth, but he had a couple of dodgy... It was quite clear that he's not up to the standards required to be the Manchester United number one. And it looks like Andre Onana is going to be between the sticks for another season. Again, I'm not overly surprised, to be quite honest with you. I'm really not overly surprised. I think it's going to be a case where it's a slow and steady build for Manchester United. It doesn't mean you can't get from 15th to top 4, you know, in the space of one season. But it looks like it's going to be a slow build and it's not going to be all guns blazing to replace every position as quickly as possible. And again, I mean, didn't we mention it last night, and we've been mentioning it for a long time now, that the priority, especially on the back of last season, is to get goals into this team. Get goals into this team as quickly as possible. And I think if we can do that, I think it will give us an awful lot of a much better chance of progressing up the table and maybe challenging for the European spots. You've got to score goals to win games. So look, Andre Onana in the goal. Again, trying to stay on the positive side of things. I mean, there's been large parts of both seasons where Andre Onana has played quite well. It's the issue is he goes through phases of having really bad spells, and that's a big concern. It really is. And I think the goalkeeper market is probably not massively strong at the moment. We've seen links with Milinkovic-Savic, with Martinez of Aston Villa. I mean, look, I don't think Martinez is the solution either, to be quite honest with you. I think he's got the mentality and, you know, the cojones to be the Manchester United number one, but is he good enough ultimately? That remains to be seen as well. So it looks like Andre Onana is going to be staying. I want to see what you guys think as well. Chris, with the 31 months as a squad member, as a member of the United Community Channel, 31 months of great stuff. Only took me 31 months for Jack to let me do watch-alongs. Well, there you go. I mean, the fucking pressure is on. It really is on. You know what I mean? But yeah, I appreciate appreciate the support as always. If anyone else wants to join as an official member, guys, hit the join button down below. The link is also pinned in the live chat as well. I do appreciate the support. It helps the channel out an awful lot. Who else have we got in here? Dara is in. He says, if Onana is in goal, we are getting relegated. Well, I don't necessarily agree with that, to be quite honest with you. Again, I think an awful lot of games that we saw Manchester United struggling last year were games that we couldn't put the ball in the opposition goal. And look, of course, there were scenarios where, you know, we leaked silly goals and Andre Onana was at fault at times. But I think for large parts of the season, our big area of concern, well, it's so obvious the big area of concern was the other end of the pitch and actually scoring. And if you don't score goals, you don't win games. It's as simple as that. You know, you've got to score to win, and we didn't do that enough last season. So, look, look, if Onana stays for another season, all well and good. I don't think he's going to be the long-term goalkeeper for Manchester United beyond maybe next season. But first and foremost, you've got to prioritise the most important areas, and the most important areas is you know, the attack at Manchester United and trying to put the ball in the net. Chris says, let's go. Bring a new goalkeeper in no matter what. Anyone will beat him out. And I don't disagree with you. I absolutely don't disagree with you. I do think, you know, I've always said that when there's an opportunity to go out and to improve your team, regardless of the personnel that you've currently got within your squad, then I think you've got to do it. Now, if Milinkovic-Savic, is he the answer? Is Martinez the answer? Would there be a scenario where you could get Douglas Costa out of Portugal? I don't know. I honestly don't know. And I think given how tight our budget is this summer, and an awful lot of incomings will depend on sales, I just think that the goalkeeper is going to fall down that pecking order. And I think some of the stuff that we're seeing coming out, I mean, like we see here with what the Athletic are writing about Onana. Representatives held a meeting at Old Trafford. The goalkeeper is expected to stay, although United could enter the market at his position to sign a backup. And I think an awful lot of this coming out from United, and maybe the lack of clarity around the goalkeeping position, is down to the fact that, I mean, you don't want to spook him out the door either. When are you going to have enough money to actually go and replace him? And I think that's the big question as well. You know, are United going to come out and put feelers out there around a new goalkeeper when they don't really know if they're going to have the funds to go out and try and replace him or be able to replace him? And I think that's a big concern. I do. You know, they've got to get the areas that they need to fix first. And that's, of course, obviously the number 10 positions, which Cunha is already in, and Buemo looks like he's going to be next. We'll talk about him in a while. And, of course, the striker. And I think after that, it's probably going to be a midfielder or even another centre-back. And look, a lot of lads would say, especially with centre-back, that we've got an awful lot there. You know, Martinez will be back. We've got Maguire. We've got De Ligt. We've got Yoro. Heaven has played really well. Mazraoui can play there. But is it good enough? Do you need to add another defender for Manchester United to really work their way up that league table? And I think that probably will be a higher priority than the goalkeeper. I genuinely do. I think if there's a scenario where, you know, you can go out and get another centre-back, I think United will probably prioritise that over a goalkeeper. And I think if you come out as a club and start saying, or start putting the feelers out there and talking to agents of other goalkeepers, you might spook the goalkeeper that you currently have. And Andre Onana is probably the type of goalkeeper that would say, all right, well, if you're talking to somebody else, I'm gone. I'm going to look for a club. And then he's gone. And then you're going, oh, shit, right, how are we going to replace him? Have we got the funds to do it? So it's all about prioritising, in my opinion. It really, really is. Let's see what you're saying here. Let's have a look. What else have we got? Dara says, pressure. If any replacement can catch the ball and kick the ball out of the field, he's already miles better than Onana. I mean, look, I don't think Onana is a terrible goalkeeper, but he's got too many mistakes in him. He's not consistently good enough, and I think that's the big concern, you know. And we know the pressure that comes with being Manchester United goalkeeper. It's one of it's one of the most pressurized positions in world football. I'm convinced by that. You know, I really, really am. Ben says, I just want Big Victor. Is that Osman or Gyökeres? Ben, you have to clarify that now. Bring us Chevalier from Lille, says Chris, 23 years old. There we go. All right, there we go. Chris has got his fingers in the French market there. You know, what happened with Cherky? I didn't like him. I said it, you know, and we spoke an awful lot about Cherky because of his price tag and so on and so forth. But when he celebrated scoring at Old Trafford in front of the Manchester United fans, holding his knob in his hand, instead of celebrating in front of his old fans who were right there, I went, nah, not for me. No way. Passat says, I'm not doing another season with Onana. Brian says, have you stopped doing merch? We have not, Brian. The merch link is it's pinned in the chat. Go check it out, and the link is in the description of the video. I've got a really cool Cunha piece of merch that I'm working on. Let me see, can I show you here? Let me see. What can I show you? What can I show you? No, let me see. Where is it? I'm working on it. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm no artist or anything like that, but I have been using the help of ChatGPT to get it started, but I've come up with a little something like this. This is what I've got so far. Now it needs obviously it needs some jigging around. It needs some fine tuning. Like it's got the old Manchester United jersey, which I need to change. I need to get rid of the collar, and I need to get rid of obviously the Adidas and the Timo. I don't know what the fuck Timo is, but that's my initial design so far. For the Matheus Cunha merch, we've got obviously the Brazilian flag in the background with Old Trafford there as well. So I spent a couple of hours working on it, yeah, and I'm happy with it so far. So yeah, let's see. I should have it done within the next few days, hopefully, and then it'll be up on the store, available for all. So yeah, go check it out. Like I said, link is in the description, pinned to the chat there as well. If you want to go check out the merch, we've got a few bits and pieces. I'm getting more put up. We've got a Lenioro one, we've got a Garnacho one. There's probably no point in getting that now, considering he's leaving. Well, if you want to get it and put it in the you know, the bank for later years, then great. I think we've got a Roy Keane one. We've got the Youth Trinity one as well. So yeah, go check it out. Link is in the description. Brian also says, we got Tom Heaton signed on for another year. Surely he should be given a chance. Well, look, I think Tom Heaton has been signed on for another season as the third choice goalkeeper. And I put it up on Instagram today. Obviously, anytime the news breaks, I do put stuff up on Instagram. So make sure you're following there. And the response was strange. You know, a lot of people saying, fucking waste of money and this and that and the other. And yeah, I mean, United need a third goalkeeper. And you know, Tom Heaton is cheap. And why wouldn't we do it? I mean, didn't City have your man, Carlson, was it? That older guy that was a goalkeeper there for years. Never kicked the ball pretty much. Daryl says, we need another left back because we have to get rid of Shaw. We don't need another left back. We've got Dorgu. We've also got the new player coming from South America. Someone tell me his name. I can't think of his name. That young kid. And we've also got Harry Amas. You know, so I think we're okay for left back. Brian says, couldn't find the link the other. Yep, there we go. It's all there, Brian. Check it out. See what you want to get. Obviously, I do appreciate the support. If you do buy any merch, it helps us out an awful lot. Kevin says, what's the story? Brian Mbeumo. We're going to get on to Mbeumo in a moment. Kevin, Stay put, stay put. Amin says, hi there. We need Cunha and Mbeumo and Mateta scored 49 goals last year. I would absolutely be happy with that forward lineup. I think the Mateta thing is probably one we would go for if Gyökeres, Osimhen and, maybe the first tier types of strikers are gone. But yeah, I mean, he's Premier League proven, isn't he? Right, guys, let's move it on. And we'll talk about Antony. And the Athletic, in the same article today, have given an update on Antony's exit of Manchester United. And they've said that Real Betis want to sign Antony permanently after his successful loan spell in Spain. Betis have had conversations with Manchester United to find out their position on his future. However, no offers have been made for the 25-year-old. And there is an expectation that a deal might take time to be completed. And this is something you don't want to hear. You never want to hear it. But I think Antony leaving Manchester United, regardless of when it is in this transfer window, needs to be done on a permanent basis more than anything else. We spoke last night about the potential for him to go on loan again to Real Betis next season. And then they would have an obligation to buy for around 32 million, I think it was. So, I mean, if we can get him out the door this summer on a permanent deal, absolutely fantastic. And if it's anything over 30 million, I think it's a good bit of business. It really is. And we know Antony has gone there and he's done well. And Real Betis are desperate to keep him. The fan base, the owners, is it owners? I don't know. Do they have a specific owner? Whatever the case may be, the hierarchy and the fan base all want to keep Antony given how well he's done. And it's fantastic. And look, we said last night, Diego Leon is the kid. Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. We said it last night about Antony and his stock. And will his stock be higher at any stage over the next couple of seasons than it is now? And I don't think it probably will be. When, and we see it an awful lot at United and we see it at other clubs. And, a great example is Jadon Sancho. He tends to do that at any club he goes to on loan or permanent deal to us. He starts well, and we see it with other players. They go and they go, oh, this is good, the pressure is off, hit the ground running. And then you see it all over the place. I mean, we saw it with Solskjaer, didn't we, when he was manager on the interim basis. Absolutely fantastic. And then, I mean, the second he got a full deal, it started to peter out a little bit. And, oh, no, here we go. So, getting back to my point, I don't think Antony's stock will be ever as high as it is now. And I think for that reason alone, Manchester United need to pull the trigger on a permanent move away for him. We've got to work with Real Betis on a price, and I'm sure it will be probably a transfer that involves a number of installments if Antony is to go permanently there. Because, I mean, they're not cash rich, really, Real Betis, aren't they not? And, they would probably have to sell a couple of players to build up some revenue to maybe get him in and so on and so forth. But again, I go back and I reiterate, Manchester United need to be smart in their dealings this summer. And I do think we do have competent people in place now. So you would expect them to say, okay, we'll work with Betis here. We will, maybe we'll take 20 million up front, but we want another 15 million in add-ons over the course of 2 or 3 seasons, whatever the case may be. And then Manchester United are getting their money back, and that's positive money on the books that you can go out and reinvest. But absolutely, like I said, Antony's stock is flying high at the moment from a Real Betis standpoint, and United need to cash in while they can. I think that's very, very important. And yeah, I mean, there would be nothing worse than Antony going back and maybe having a lackluster season if he does go on loan again. And then all of a sudden, his price drops from 35 million back down to 20. And you're going, oh, shit. But I think if it is going to be a loan deal, and we said it last night, we've got to have these obligations to buy within the loan deal. And I don't want to see any more Jadon Sancho scenarios where Antony goes to Betis on another loan next season. There is an obligation to buy. He has a shit season, and then Betis go, actually, no, here's 4 million. You can have him back. You don't want to see that again. So, yeah, if we can get him gone on a permanent deal, it's the way to go. It really, really is. And look, it all comes down to generating revenue. That's what it all comes down to. We've got to generate revenue to go out and buy. And if we don't, then we're not going to have the types of numbers coming in the door that we want and that we need more than anything else. We need players in the door this summer, minimum 5, in my opinion. 2 number 10s. One of them is in the door already. A striker, a midfielder, and or a goalkeeper or centre back. That's 5. If you include a goalkeeper and a centre back, that's 6. That would be ideal. You then get into the situation of going, well, can we maybe get a right wing back? Can we get a left back? Can we, potentially look at getting another number 6, moving Casemiro on, whatever the case may be. And I think that's why it's all been heavily focused on what we can spend first. We've got a certain amount of money in the kitty that we can spend. And like we've heard on multiple occasions, the Cunha and Mbeumo deals can be done without sales. And I think United have worked very fast on getting them deals done. But don't be surprised if it slows down. If it slows down. And if you could get Mbeumo and a striker in before the start of the transfer, or before the start of pre-season, before we go on pre-season, it'd be brilliant, because you want to get your players in. And even I mentioned it a few weeks ago, the striker is a position that doesn't necessarily need to be on pre-season. You could go and get a Gyökeres or an Osimhen the week before the transfer, or the week before the season starts, and I think they would just slot in, and they would score goals. Whereas if you're getting in a number 10, if you're getting in a number 6, a number 8, a centre-back, a new goalkeeper, a wing-back, they all need to be integrated into how Ruben Amorim wants to play, and his setup and his formation and his system and what he expects, and work rate and pressing and so on and so forth. Whereas if you're a striker, you just press from the front and you fucking score goals. It's as simple as that, So I'm not going to be overly concerned if we go on pre-season tour without a new striker. But I would like the 2 number 10s in, and if we are going for another midfielder, a number 6 maybe, I'd like that to be done as well. So the more we can get done before pre-season, absolutely, the better standings we would be in. Amin says, CP in negotiations with Mateta for a new contract. That's Crystal Palace. We need to act quickly. Again, I don't necessarily think we have to act quickly on that one, because Mateta and his representatives are not going to be stupid. They're going to go, well, hold on a minute. We're not signing a new deal in the middle of a transfer window. If he has any kind of want to leave Crystal Palace and go somewhere else, he's not going to sign a new deal until the transfer window is closed. And if he finds himself there at the end of the transfer window, then he might pull the trigger on a new deal. But until then, I can't see him signing a new contract, unless he's adamant he wants to stay. And then there's nothing we can do about it anyway. Passat says, sell him, we will get a lot of money. Chris says, no way we loan him again. Sell someone for fuck's sake. Yeah, I do think it will get done, though. I do. I genuinely think it will get done. But the issue is, if you look at all of the players that we're looking to offload, Rashford only wants to go to Barcelona. Real Betis can't really afford Anthony, so they're going to have to start busking on the corner to get a few pound together. Jadon Sancho won't lower his wages. Who else is there? Them 3. Who's the other one? You're talking about Malacia. Are you going to get much for him? Probably not. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's the situation we find ourselves in. So I don't think it's going to be quickly, to be quite honest with you. Amin says, if we buy Mateta for 35 million, then we can buy a goalkeeper for 35, equals price of a striker like Victor Gyökeres or Victor Osimhen. Yeah, but we need to get that. We need to get one of them in the door as well. We need a striker also. Striker needs to get in, says Chris. Look at Highland, not a plug and play. Absolutely. Yeah, I understand that. I do understand that. But I think if you're talking about, I think it depends on the type of striker that we go out and get. If you're going to go out and get an Ekitike, who we'll talk about in a moment, then, yeah, I do agree with you. Absolutely, he needs to be in pre-season. What does the manager want from him? What type of setup are we going to do? But I think if you're bringing in a Gyökeres, who's played for Amorim already, or a Victor Osimhen, who's just a goal merchant, then I think you've got a bit of leeway. That's what I'm trying to say. But I mean, I still completely agree with you. I want all the signings done before we go on pre-season, but realistically, I don't think that's going to happen. Now, let's move it on. And let me take a drink of water first, because I'm parched. Okay, let's talk about Ekitike. Now that we're talking about strikers, nice segue, because we spoke, didn't we, last night around a potential deal for him, and the price was 100 million euros, and everyone was going, nah, you're all right, no way. Now, we have had an update from Paul Hurst in the Times today in the UK, and he says that Frankfurt sold Omar Marmoush for £63 million and would ask for something similar for Ekitike. So a big jump. Now, I know you're talking, hey Siri, what's £63 million in euros?
63 million British pounds is 73,634,399 euros and 77 cents.
Cutting edge reporting here on the United Community Channel. 70 million euros, basically. So, you're talking about, right, the price has dropped to 73 million, okay? And, I mean, 73 million, I go back to what I said last night. Regardless of what the price is, unless the price is 40 million with 10 in add-ons, United have to be very, very careful about this deal, because the same issue remains. You know, we will not be able to go out and sign a project player like Ekitike, who's 22 and is not the finished article, for that kind of money. We can't do it. We cannot fall into the Rasmus Højlund trap again of hoping that a young player will come and hit the ground running and lead the line for Manchester United. He's done okay at Eintracht Frankfurt. What is it, 22 goals this season? It's a big ask to do the same thing at Manchester United and lead the line. And we've seen what happened with Rasmus Højlund. It didn't work out. He's young, he's inexperienced. He may eventually turn out to be a very good player. But these are the types of players, Rasmus Højlund, Ekitike, Sesko to maybe a slightly lesser extent, that might need one more move before they go and make the big move to the big club where all the pressure is on. You know, if Ekitike went to, you know, and it's hard to name a team in the Premier League because the majority of them finished above us. But if he went to an Aston Villa or a Newcastle or even a Brighton, for example, I think that would be maybe a move that you would say, all right, go there, play for 2 or 3 seasons. If you continue to improve, then, you know, then we're happy to pay 70 million euros for you, 63 million pounds. So again, I'm concerned about this Ekitike and the links that, you know, we're seeing with him, because the reports are not going away. The Athletic gave an update on him as well, and they said that Manchester United have inquired about the availability of him. Ekitike is already of interest to Chelsea, but United have made contact with Frankfurt in recent weeks to try and understand the player's level of availability and what a potential transfer might cost. Now, we're talking 63 million. It's basically the exact same as what you would get Gyökeres or Osimhen for. Okay? And I think the main reason why Manchester United are in for Ekitike for a similar price to that of the 2 players that I just mentioned, the experienced strikers, is because of the salary he would look for. I don't think he would look for as much as a Gyökeres or an Osimhen, because they're at the 26, 27 years of age phase of their career when they're in their prime, they're at their peak. They can garnish a higher salary. And I think Manchester United are probably keeping their options open here with Ekitike. I think to sign a striker this summer, we are going to probably have to pay around the 60 million mark. But are you going to sign a 60 million pound striker who's looking for 150 grand a week, or in like Ekitike, which I would presume it's probably going to be in around that amount? Or are you going to spend the same amount on a transfer for a Victor Osimhen who's looking to take home 250 grand a week after tax, which is about 350,000 euro you would pay him a week? You know, there's a big difference there. Now, you can also say there's a big difference on the pitch, and I think Osimhen will probably guarantee you goals more so than Ekitike. Now, I may be completely wrong, but I'm just going off of the Bundesliga. He couldn't get a sniff at PSG. He went to the Bundesliga. He's had a decent season. That does not translate to a 20 plus goal a season Premier League striker. It just doesn't. Now that's not to say he won't do that. I'm just worried. It worries me that, you know, these are the figures that we're talking about for a relatively inexperienced striker, and that, you know, that's the concern. Osman can sing for that. Ekitike is Highland 2.0. That's the concern, D, isn't it? Again, we're falling back into this, and now, and I'm not saying we are, but if we do this deal, we're falling back into that kind of trap, that, you know, project player, that unproven striker that may or may not go out and score goals next season with all of the pressure on him. And make no qualms about it, if Ekitike comes in, he is going to be Manchester United's #1 striker next season. That's it, you know, and the pressure is going to go off of Highland and onto Ekitike. Will he be able to handle it? I don't know. And that's the big concern. Would Gyökeres handle it? Yes, I think he would. Would Osimhen handle it? I think he's probably the most likely to be able to handle it, to be quite honest with you. Yeah, it's just a big concern. It's just a big concern. It really, really is. And it's one I hope we get right. I really, really do hope we get it right. Smash a like on the video, guys. If you haven't done so already, do hit that like button for me. Hit the subscribe button. Helps the channel out an awful lot. Let's move it on. Plenty to get into between now and the end of the show. We're going to stick with the striker stories for the moment, and in relation to, obviously, the main one that I've been talking about is Gyökeres, who I would like, and Florian Plettenberg has given an update in the past hour or so. It affects Manchester United, but it's actually in relation to Arsenal. And he said that Arsenal are currently not willing to pay 80 to 100 million euros demanded by Leipzig for Benjamin Sesko. There has been no official offer from Arsenal yet. Arsenal and the players' camp remain in contact, but personal terms are not yet fully agreed. I don't think there would be an issue there, to be honest with you. Arsenal are still monitoring Gyökeres. It will be crucial to see whether he can move for the verbally agreed 60 to 70 million euro, or if Sporting will demand more. And obviously this directly affects Manchester United, doesn't it? We know how much Arteta likes Benjamin Sesko, and I think if he had the option, I think he would go with Sesko over Gyökeres. And I think that would absolutely 100% kick the doors open for Manchester United to sign him. I think if Arsenal go for Sesko, I think we will get Gyökeres. I don't know if the opposite will occur. I don't know if they get Gyökeres, will we go for Sesko? Probably not. I know we've been linked with him in the past, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if, like, you know the way, and it's happened an awful lot for United over the last few years, when it comes to transfer windows, we tend to see us being linked with players for a long period of time. Is it Gyökeres? Is it Osimhen? Is it Ekitike? Is it Gyökeres? Is it Osimhen? Is it Gyökeres? Is it Ekitike? Is it Osimhen? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then somebody comes out of nowhere in the space of a week. We signed them. You know, Lenny Yoro last year, for example, absolutely came out of nowhere for United to sign him. So is that going to be a scenario maybe this summer as well? Is a Mateta going to come out of the woodwork out of nowhere? Are we all of a sudden going to get linked to, I don't know, whoever? Isak from Newcastle, although, you know, he won't come to Manchester United. And Ollie Watkins from Aston Villa. Is somebody like that going to come out of the woodwork relatively fast and United are going to sign him? I don't know. But as it stands, you know, United are being linked with 3. Gyökeres, Osimhen, and now Ekitike. I still want it to be Gyökeres, to be honest with you. I think he would fit. He knows Amarim's system. He's banging in goals. You know, he's played in the Champions League. I think he ticks all the boxes, in my opinion. I really do. But I do think that these Arsenal links with Gyökeres are probably the first domino that needs to fall before you just see a scatter of strikers moving around. I think if Arsenal go for Sesko, we go for Gyökeres. Does that mean then that Ekitike goes to Chelsea, or do Liverpool go for Osimhen, or they're probably going for Isak or whatever the case may be. I think if we see one of the dominoes fall in terms of a striker moving, I think it will actually springboard an awful lot of other deals to get done. Like I said, if Sesko goes to Arsenal, I think it opens the door massively for Manchester United to go and get Gyökeres. I really do, and I'd be happy with that. I really would. Let's see, D says, I'd say scrap the Swede and Ekitike and see if Napoli will do a swap plus 30 million for Osman this way and Garnacho and Highland that way. That would be a lot of money to give two players for the price of one. And we're going to talk about Highland right now because, well, first of all, Garnacho wants to stay in the Premier League by the looks of things. And secondly, I don't know if United are going to sell Highland, to be quite honest with you. And again, this is coming out today from Alfredo Pedula. And this is Della Sport. And he has said that selling Rasmus Højlund will be difficult for Manchester United this summer, considering how much they invested in him initially. He is attracting interest from multiple clubs in Italy, both Inter and Napoli like him a lot. So absolutely a deal could get done with Napoli. You know, if you're looking for Osman to come one way, send Rasmus Højlund the other way and do a straight swap. Again, I will go back to what I continue to say about the striker search. If we get a striker in and we sell Højlund, who's going to be our backup? Are you going to put the pressure on a 19-year-old Chido Obi, where, again, I will reiterate what I say, I think he needs at least another season in the underage setup, out of the spotlight, let him develop, let him improve without any pressure on him. I think there could be a scenario where we sign a striker and keep Rasmus Højlund this summer. I genuinely do. And again, not that I would like to see it, but I would be interested to see how Rasmus Højlund would get on as a backup with the pressure off and maybe playing 1 in 3 or coming on as a substitute and so on and so forth. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Højlund stays. I really, really wouldn't. Is he good enough to stay? No. I agree with everybody on that. I think he isn't good enough to be a Manchester United player. Will he be in the future? He may be. But at the moment, he's just so far off the mark, it's not even funny. You know? He's so far off the mark, it's not even funny. And I think, I mean, if we sell him, how much could we realistically get for him? How much could we realistically... Let me know in the chat. How much could we realistically look to recoup for Rasmus Højlund after the season he's had, you know? I don't know if it's an awful lot, lads. I don't know if it's an awful lot. What did we pay? 75 million for him? Could we get 30 back after 2 seasons? That's a huge, huge loss. In PSR, you don't want to see big losses like that on your balance sheet. You really don't. Kevin says, John Duran, Manchester United should get him Premier League proven. He's just gone to Saudi. He's getting a bucket load of money over there. I don't think he would, to be honest with you. D says, would we get Osman and... Oh, sorry. Well, we'd gesture Osman at 30 million quid. So, yeah, I mean, Osman to United... Højlund plus 30 million the other way. I mean, it's a big, big, big hit on the balance books, isn't it? It really, really is, because what you have to think about there as well is you're spending 30 million to get a striker, okay? But you're also losing the profit that you would have got by selling the striker that's going in the opposite direction as well. And when that striker has cost you 75 million, I don't think United would be willing to take that big of a loss by paying 30 million plus losing 45 million on the balance sheet of actually buying Rasmus Højlund and what it means for, you know, FFP and PSR. I think it would be too much of a loss, to be honest with you. I genuinely do. I don't think that would be a deal that they would structure. I really don't. I think if we go for somebody like Osman and let's say Rasmus Højlund does end up going to Napoli, I think there would be 2 separate deals, you know, where you would go, right, well, look, we'll give you 60 million and we'll pay it in installments. But if you want to buy Højlund, it's 30 million up front, and I think that would obviously balance the books a lot better for us. Right, let's see what you're saying here. I don't think we'll get a lot of money for Highland, says Passat. And D says 30 million and Osman to us, and Highland and Garnacho that way. Yeah. I absolutely understand what you're saying. It's a very, very difficult deal. Like, if that's all going to be one deal, Osman has to agree to come to United. Highland has to agree to go to Napoli. Garnacho has to agree to go to Napoli. Osman has to agree to our wages. Highland has to agree to Napoli's wages. Garnacho has to agree to Napoli's wages. Agent fees need to be agreed. Sell-on clauses. Image rights. I think that would be too complicated. Chris says Rashford off the bench. No, you're all right. No way. Is there a scenario where Rashford stays? Absolutely there is. Absolutely there is. I think there is a scenario where Rashford stays at Manchester United. But I think it would be down to either Rashford not willing to move to certain clubs. I think United are going to try everything to move him on. We know how desperate he is to sign for Barcelona. But do they want him that much? Right, guys, two more stories to talk about real quick before we finish up. I want to talk a little bit about Mbeumo. Some updates on him in the last maybe hour or two. And these reports are coming from... Where are they coming from? I don't know who he is. Goal in Brazil, for some reason. Tottenham are now out of the race to sign Bryan Mbeumo. Tottenham see it as almost impossible to overtake Manchester United at this stage. And another report then, same report actually, says there have been positive contacts recently between Man United and Brentford for Mbeumo. The gap on the fixed fee is narrowing, just a few million left. Personal terms have already been agreed. This is good news. Now look, from the initial one, I never saw Tottenham as direct rivals to sign him. I really don't. I thought there was no links with him and Spurs at all until Thomas Frank got the job at Spurs. And I think it would be probably a bit of a sideways step for him. Even though they've got Champions League football, and that's fantastic for them, it looks like all he wants is Manchester United, which is great. And the fact that these reports are suggesting that the fee is narrowing, just a few million left, would suggest that, you could absolutely see Bryan Mbeumo go on pre-season tour with Manchester United. And I think that would be fantastic. And I think, going back to what we said at the very start of the show, I think United's priority is to get the two number 10s in the door and get them out on pre-season tour. And that's absolutely fantastic. And look, I mean, Bryan Mbeumo or is it Mbeumo, whatever it is, I think is going to be a very good signing for Manchester United. I think that number 10 role is completely, the number 10 positions now is completely revolutionised. If Mbeumo comes in, Cunha and Mbeumo would be your two starters. You'd be able, like I said before, you'd be able to drop Bruno deeper. Ahmad goes out to a right wing back position. That's a very, very attacking team. If you're talking about, let's say we got Gyökeres, all right? You're talking about a team of Onana. Three at the back with everybody fit is probably Yoro, De Ligt, Martinez maybe. Wing backs then you're talking Ahmad and Dorgu. 2 6s, Bruno and Ugarte. 2 10s, Mbeumo, Cunha, and number 9, Victor Gyökeres. That's a very, very attacking side. Very, very attacking side. And one that I would be excited to see. So yeah, not only does signing 2 number 10s revitalise the number 10 roles, but it also revitalises the wing-back role with Ahmad going out there, the number 6 role with Bruno dropping deeper. So 2 signings is almost improving 4 spots in the team, which is absolutely fantastic. And it gives you that bit of depth. And then you're talking about a Mason Mount, a Kobbie Mainoo, these players that can rotate in and out. Absolutely. Bruno, of course, can play in the 10 if he needs to as well. Mazraoui can play there, if we bring Eric Ten Hag back. So, yeah, it's all positives, in my opinion, signing someone like Brian Mbeumo. Now, finally, let's talk about the freedom fighter. The absolute freedom fighter that Manchester United are trying to move on. Again, this report is saying Manchester United have set a price tag of £30 million for Jadon Sancho. Now, I don't believe this is going to be what United want, but I do believe that this is probably a starting point for Manchester United to negotiate with teams for Jadon Sancho. We spoke last night about United looking for 70 million for Garnacho, and in the past, United, when they've gone to look for players, you know, when John Murta and Ed Woodward and these guys were running the club, the price went up by 20 million because United would go, okay, you can have it. Now it's United going, no, well, we're starting high. You know, we want you to come up to our price rather than us to go down to yours. United are desperate, guys, to sell Jadon Sancho. They're absolutely desperate to sell him, and I do think he will go. He has no intention of staying at Manchester United either. He's spoken very negatively about the club, quite openly, when he went to Chelsea and when he went to Dortmund on his loan as well. Bye. Just get him out. Get him gone. See you later. Bad egg. Bad apple. You know, when... And reports yesterday were suggesting that he's not willing to lower his salary a massive amount. Now, he's obviously going to have to take some kind of salary reduction because he's not getting that same money anywhere else. But he's not willing to lower his salary. So he still thinks he's worth that. But in his head, it doesn't register that Chelsea paid 5 million. Sorry, let me say that again. Chelsea paid 5 million not to have him. Sometimes you got to think in your own mind, maybe it's me that's the problem and not everybody else. You know, so I do think Manchester United are going to do everything in their power to move Jadon Sancho on this summer, and by the looks of things, he wants out as well, which is only a good thing for us as well, because, you know, we don't want to see him there, do we? Let's see, what are you saying? They finished lower in the league, beat us in the final, and they were the worst team in of course, he doesn't want to go to Spurs. Chris says, Mbeumo, Cunha, Mateta. I'd be okay with that. D says 30 million quid and nobody wants him. Chelsea paid 5 million quid to send him back and speaks volumes about how bad he is for the dressing room. Absolutely. Don't assume Mbeumo can play the right wing. Okay, I don't see why we would be signing him other than that though. I take Mateta at this point, says D. There we go. And Passat says sell him. There we go. Everyone wants Sancho out. I think it's universally understood that yeah, his time at Manchester United is quite quickly coming to an end. Guys, we'll leave it there. I do appreciate you all watching. Do smash a like in the video. Subscribe if you're new. All of that good stuff. The podcast is back tomorrow night as well, guys. The first one in a few weeks. The guys will be joining me. Chris will be there with us. I think Oshin and Ben and Desi will be there as well. And of course, I will be there. I'll be letting the boys have their say over everything that has gone on in the past few weeks. If you are an official channel member as well, guys, if you are a paid member of the channel, you can come on as well with us. So do get in touch. I'll send you the link. You can come on, you can join us, and you can give your opinion on everything to do with Manchester United and what we're talking about. And even if it's just a 5-minute thing where you want to jump on, have your say, jump out, absolutely you can do that. That's no problem at all. I will post the link on the members only section tomorrow once I have it up. Guys, like I said, I appreciate you all watching and I appreciate the comments in the chat, the likes, the subscribes, all that good stuff. Do appreciate it. D, there we go. Look, with the 16 months best United channel anywhere. There we go. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for the support. And like I say, guys, anyone else wants to become a channel member, hit the join button down below. The link is in the live chat. Come on with us tomorrow night onto the podcast. It is for members to come on with us. It's your platform. It's your opportunity to jump on and have a chat. Give your say what you want. If D wants to come on, if Party Pooper wants to come on, if Brian wants to come on, anyone. It's your platform, guys. Hit me up tomorrow. I'll send you the link and you can come on and have a chat. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your evening. I'll be back tomorrow with the boys as always. I'll chat to you then. Take it easy. Good luck.